What's up? How's it going? Let's see. Let me get set up here. Saturday after 4th of July. Well, 4th of July weekend. Let me lower this. So, what is everybody up to? Um, Almost slept in today. I thought about it. And then I thought, I'll be behind all day if I do that. So, I have a tech out. Um, you guys, anybody here does sprinkler work? Um, like full on have techs that are just hired to do sprinkler work. Man, I don't know, man. I love it, but it's also killing me slowly. It's definitely stressing me out, but it's actually a really big challenge that I don't know, it gives me something to like challenge myself and my only reward is at the end of the day if there aren't any big problems. That's my only reward. If I failed on the day, there's a problem. It's because there's a problem. Now, I guess I shouldn't be so hard on myself because sometimes problems are going to happen no matter what, even if everything was dealt perfectly, right? So, yeah, it's just one of those things. About, I want to say 3 years ago, I I paid Seven Power Contractor. You ever heard of that? Let me see. Seven Power Contractor. There's a guy, um, what's his name? Al Levy or Al Levy. And he has this company called Seven Power Contractor where he does like manuals and he's like in the you call it like HVAC, plumbing, electric world, you know? So he has a bunch of manuals designed for those businesses. There's also some off the wall type of businesses. He doesn't have a sprinkler division, like a sprinkler manual set. So what he recommended was that I purchase, one of his, his program and kind of tweak it to fit sprinklers. So when you sign when before you sign up with him, you have like a I don't know, a 30-minute phone call with him. It might even be a Zoom if I remember right. So you have a 30-minute Zoom, and he kind of like slowly scrolls through different packages or programs that he has or manuals. And anyway, the only reason why I ever contacted him was because Tommy Mello, the garage door guy, um, was raving and raving about him, and that I definitely get inspired by Tommy Mello. So I thought that was something I should do too, especially for sprinklers. Like honestly, we should do it for all the divisions for sure, 100%. And I've done that. In fact, I did have something here. Let me get it. Let me show you. So while I was having my meeting or whatever, going through the consultation process with Al Levy 3 years ago, I told him one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I got to have systems in place for the sprinkler division. Uh, and so he was pretty in he you know he doesn't like do a deep dive in your business, but he asks you questions during that time on the phone with him. And so he actually said he doesn't have a sprinkler manual program, but if I actually really took it serious and did it, set it up for all sprinkler uh, for a sprinkler company, that he would be interested in, I forgot the wording he used, but basically uh, want me to upload it for him to sell to other people, and he would give me something. I don't remember what, and I could be wrong. You know what I mean? But I know he did say something like that. And at the time, I wanted to do it, but it was like my first year really trying to push sprinklers. I mean, really pushing it. You know what I mean? So um, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't really have a good understanding of what my manual was going to be, even though I tried. So I was working on basically a mowing manual, right? Because I'm like, I know mowing pretty well. So I came up with this manual, right? That I wrote, and then I paid, um, somebody to kind of help me with the designs or whatever, you know what I mean? Which is all BS. I think, okay, manuals are cool, but paying somebody to help me do this was BS. I should have just done it myself, is what I'm trying to say. But I upped, so I made this Mo manual, and if you flip it upside down, it's in Spanish, right? So it's like, so everything would be in Spanish if you flip it upside down. So like half the book is in English, half the book is in Spanish. I did that so that I could be like efficient and not waste, and it just maximized the book so I could have like give it to Spanish speakers and English speakers. I think I went too much detail. You know what I mean? I gotta be honest with you, bros. I made this manual that I poured time into it. You know what I mean? I poured some time into this thing. And I bet you not one person read it. I guarantee I'd be willing to bet not one person read it. Not one person came up to me, asked me any questions about it. So, it's like, I don't know, why waste time doing that? Like, I think if we had like, I just, it's hard to get mowing to be super professional. It's a hard enough job as it is to just go to the properties back to back to back to back, do good quality, and finish at a decent time so that we can make money. I mean, it's already hard enough to do that. So having a manual, like, and I just feel like if anybody's struggling to get that main stuff done, well, they don't really last here, right? So if I got like a mow guy who's taking 10 hours to mow 6 lawns, he's not going to last here. We might put up with it for a little bit, depending if he's new, if we're training. But if it's just consistently months and months of this and like, not getting any faster, they just don't last. I just say, unfortunately, you gotta let you go. And on the flip side of that, if they are killing it, we don't get any complaints from the customers. We tend to not worry too much about they're late. What were they supposed to start doing when they first show up to the property? They come in with clean uniform. Do they feel? Do they think? Do they look professional? Do you drive to work with enough time to account for traffic, refueling, carpooling, etc.? Like, we just don't think about all those other things. You know what I mean? Um, and so that's why I don't know if manuals are the best thing for us. There's just, it sounds nice. And if you do them fast without wasting too much time, meaning, let's say you sat down to do a mowing manual and you knocked it out that same day or the next day, and you sent it off to print, and 3 days later it's back. So it took you maybe 7 days from sit down to product in hand. That's worth it. I think that'd be worth it. But the other thing is, like, was it really worth it if nobody reads it? So what I would say, if you were to do a manual, you got to keep it short, like so short that your manual should probably have all of the divisions processes in it, not just one, because that's too much. Like, for example, let me just open up and read something. So, tools and equipment. Long Thumbs provides all the tools needed to perform the work in a professional manner during your employment. These tools will remain your responsibility to protect during your employment with Long Thumbs. You know what I mean? It's like, duh. You know, they know this. They should know this. Like, it's pretty common sense. But we do have things like the loss or damage done to equipment or tools will be accounted for through deducting the commission of the employee responsible. Long Thumb supplies you with a variety of larger tools and equipment. These tools will either be part of standard vehicle stock or will be kept in the shop. All equipment pulled from the shop must be signed out, including your name, date out, date in. All equipment is to be returned the same day or beginning of the next day unless otherwise approved by the warehouse manager, foreman, or division manager. No employee is allowed to purchase tools or equipment and charge them to Long Thumbs unless they contact the warehouse manager, foreman, or division manager for approval. And the expectation is the receipt will be turned in. If there are tools not on the standard Long Thumbs tool list, that you may purchase them yourself, or you can submit in writing the request for a special tool through the warehouse manager, foreman, division manager. Approval will depend on your skill level and frequency of that job. Long Thumbs provides all tools needed to complete jobs. If you purchase your own personal tools, Long Thumbs is not responsible for reimbursement, loss, or theft of tools from trucks or on client or Long Thumbs property. So there's just a bunch of that kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. If everybody was buying their own tools and it was like a normal thing at drug test, um, you know what I mean? I just feel like that's, talking about buying your own tools and this and that. I mean, it's probably good to have, but if nobody reads it and we don't do a good job of like reading it to them, in our Wednesday meeting, we used to have a section where we talk about something for the handbook, right? When everybody gets hired, to get that handbook, and we would go over every Wednesday doing it. But I think because it's just got such a low response that I think we just over time just stopped doing that segment in our meetings. It's just like, I think everybody just zones out. It's like they don't care. so so we only talk about topics that we feel like are relevant in the moment. But yeah, so the point is here with all this manual stuff is I am losing. Am I losing my mind? Maybe I'm losing. I'm definitely losing years or days off my life. I will tell you that. I am losing days off my life. If I was supposed to live to be 100 years old before I started dispatching or taking over the sprinkler division, I now am only going to live for 99 years because I'm taking a mental beating with everything. Um, anyway, let me answer this question. So we used to do random drug tests, Adam. Um, but again, it was like I know my guy's really good. We have we have a relatively small team, and it's pretty obvious when somebody's, I don't know, coming in drunk, high, or something. You know what I mean? And and I feel like we're small enough to where if I feel like I need to fire somebody because they're on drug test, I'm gonna do it. I don't care if they threaten me to go to court, whatever. I will fight them on that because my company's too important to let somebody like that. I've never, um, I don't think I mean, I've had so many employees over the years. Usually, somebody that's on drugs or high or something or drunk, they just don't make it into work, right? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I know my team pretty good. So at one point, a couple years ago, I took that off. So the place was called WorkMed, and I may have a. I used to have something WorkMed gave me. I think that's what it was called, or Work Care, something like that. Where I hired them, and they do random drug tests. So what they do is you submit every time you hire somebody, you submit it to them, and then they get put on like a almost like a random wheel. And about every week or every 2 weeks, they call on people. It could be one person, it could be multiple. And they just do random drug tests. And if they don't show up, basically you could fire that employee for not wanting to take a drug test. Um, obviously there's some paperwork they have to sign for all that kind of stuff, but you would do that on the onboarding. When somebody gets hired, you say that's kind of the rule. And anyway, and they're on top of it. And they let you know, hey, an employee didn't show up or employee was late, and hey, we've been trying to reach out to this employee, but he won't answer. So they do a lot of that kind of stuff, and they keep you updated in the loop. But I just feel like I don't need that. Like our customers don't go in the home. I'm sorry, our workers don't go in the home. They're just out in the yard working, and I don't know, very little client interaction. The most client interaction that my techs have are the sprinkler guys. Um, and again, I know them pretty good, and they're all fairly new too. So if it was something that I'm going to need to do in the future, I'll probably do it in the future. But we're just kind of going with the paces right now. So that's where I'm at with drug tests, Adam. Um, now back to the manual stuff. So I'm losing my brain cells with the sprinkler division, and I need to fill my position, which is the sprinkler dispatcher. So I've been using ChatGPT now for a while, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try making a manual with ChatGPT. So first of all, you can ask ChatGPT to make you a sprinkler dispatcher manual, and they'll just do it. You'll have a manual. You have you have no idea if it's right or wrong or whatever, because Chat doesn't really ask any questions; it just does it. So I said, hey, I want to do a manual. I want to do a sprinkler dispatcher manual, and I hit like space, and it went up as a question instead of just making a new paragraph because I hit enter, and and that's when it made a manual. So I was reading through it, and I was like, oh man, dude, he doesn't really know, like ChatGPT doesn't know what I need. Like it just did it, and it's not right. But I appreciate the effort. But anyway, so I said, I want to make a manual, but I'm going to feed you information. And then at the end of it, let's compile it all and you make a manual based off of my input. So it said, okay, sounds great. Start dishing me, start dumping on me, is what it told me. So I spent like a good, I came into work yesterday, which was 4th of July. I did an event with my wife, not did an event. I went to an event with my wife, had breakfast with my wife and kids, and everything was awesome. I never did that on 4th of July with them, um, and which was really weird because we had to be at the place at like 5:30 in the morning, which for my family that seems really early, but for 4th of July they were all about it. And by then I'm usually awake, so I actually got to sleep in because I knew I was going with them that morning yesterday. Anyway, after we got back, I came in because I had a sprinkler guy working on the 4th of July, uh, doing this kind of big job. I'm glad we have a long weekend so that hopefully he gets it done this weekend and then we can start fresh Monday. But there was kind of an issue with the sprinklers. But anyway, I'm not going to really talk about that because I don't need to. It's off topic. But while I was here, nobody cares. All right. All right, KT. Um, thanks for that. Um, let's see. So because um, anyway, I was making the manual and I used ChatGPT because I came in yesterday. My sprinkler guy working a job, so I wanted to make sure the customer was okay with him being there, and I needed him to tell me what he was going to do. So I had to be here for a little bit anyway. And he lives pretty far from the job, so I was kind of sitting here, and I was using ChatGPT to make my manual, and I was dumping all this information on it. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, I kind of got into it, right? It's like I'm I'm as I'm dumping, he's the chat GPT is like giving me paragraphs and stuff, like saying, hey, this is a good idea. This goes in this category, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, awesome. Anyway, so I just stayed and worked on it for a while. And anyway, I think I got it done. And then I uploaded it or whatever, I said, let's do a final draft. And then it made a final draft. And it's not what I envisioned it would have been, but it's more to the point than I would have done myself. So you can imagine the mowing has like all these like paragraphs and stuff because it does, right? It's like, let's see, you see, it's like full of paragraphs, whereas Chat GPT's manual is just bullets, boom, 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 boom. For example, I don't know if I have this pulled up, but yeah. So, like for example, there's a support quoting and invoicing help. Tech may contact the dispatcher when a quote is off book or requires custom explanation. A part service isn't in the price book. You know what I mean? So things like that. It's just boom, 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 boom. And I kind of like that. I kind of like it. So anyway, um, I pretty much have that manual. I've been tweaking it though. I've been adding my touches to it slowly. And anyway, I made it home with enough time to enjoy my family that came over and we had dinner at my house. So I wasn't like working all day. But anyway, I'm not seeing anybody that I normally that normally is on here. Where is everybody? In fact, I wanna see something. Yeah. Okay. So what is everybody up to? Have you guys noticed my videos I've been doing? Um, yeah, my new media guy, like he's quick to the point. He's like, dude, why don't we do something on this topic? I go, okay, boom, shoot, boom. We record it and he's out. And then he sends me a video, um, usually later that day, or because we've got one coming out every Wednesday and every Friday. And sometimes he'll give me a video. I mean, we just started this, but he's giving me a video. He's supposed to have one for me today, actually, I think. Um, actually, today's Saturday, isn't it? I'm not sure if he's given me two videos this week. He may have, though. I'm gonna check. Oh well, I don't know if it's super important anyway. But yeah, what do you guys think? Sh- I mean, you guys like the videos or what? Um, let's see. Oh yeah, so I did two videos this week. So yeah, the guy is good. Um, I gave him some feedback on what I'd like to see. But the fact that we're posting is a win because I can't even do that. I'm so busy. Like right now is the only time in the whole week that I could do anything. And I couldn't imagine making a video, editing it, and then uploading it. I just can't do it. And this is when I have the most time. But during the week, man, it's crazy. But yeah, um, does anybody have a service they do that they feel is crucial to your business, and you have to be the one to kind of set it up, which is basically how it should go. That's how it should be, right? So, like for example, let's say you just start off mowing, and you're just mowing along every day, but you realize customers are saying, "Hey, can you prune my shrubs? Can you prune my shrubs? Can you weed my flower beds?" Well, you feel like, you know what? I've got to set it up. I can't just hire somebody to do that because we don't have enough work to keep them busy, right? So you have to do it. Now, I will say there are some ways around that. Um, so my first phone person, well, I don't know if she was my first, but first or second phone person was Stacia. Remember that? She was in the video a long time ago. If you look at a video probably 8 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah, dude, maybe like 11 years ago. Um, there's a video where I introduced Stacia, and I hired her to be the phone person. And she said, well, if I work here, I want to be able to prune shrubs and do tree work and stuff like that. And I was like, that works, but we don't really get that many calls. But maybe when you're talking to customers on the phone, you can upsell that. So she's like, deal. So we did that. So she was the phone person, plus she went out doing shrub work. So that's kind of how I got around that first initial new service offering, right? It's just like if you're doing a service like mowing and you want to do a second service, you typically, unless you have workers that you're transitioning into that, kind of like I do with sprinklers. Back in the day, um, I I promoted a worker to do sprinklers, and I said, "Look, we're not that busy. doing sprinklers. We're not busy at all, but I will pay you, uh, to come in on call. I'm not exactly sure how I worked it out with this one guy, but there's probably a chance that I said, you're going to mow every other day, and then we're going to do sprinklers in between each day, and something like that, right? But you are going to be the sprinkler guy. That's kind of how I worked around that. And I think that's how most people probably are going to work around adding a service to where they're already doing what we're busy at, but when it's, either the days that it's slow, or you will have that one person move to this new service to grow it. And that's what I did with the sprinkler division. With the garden division, I just kind of I did hire somebody, and they started that. They started it. Now I remember, um, early on there was issues with quoting, so there were times where that she would end up doing quotes for weeding, and she was happy doing it. She just loved to work outside. She didn't really want to answer phones, even though that's what she got hired to do. But I wanted her um, to do shrub work. Okay, I got a text. All right, I got a sprinkler issue. Another reason why I'm always stressed out. Let's see. So I've got some pictures here. I wonder what we did at this place. So this one, ooh, that's a big problem there. Water to the whole sprinkler system has been shut off. The picture is before shut off, of course. Please send somebody Monday if you can. If you can't come Monday, I'll need to figure out on my Beehive timer which zone it is, and I don't really want to turn on any of the sprinklers at this time. Hope that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. I will try and send someone today, actually. And then sign my name. So, this could technically be a good thing. Could technically be a good thing, but it still stresses me out. Now, if you could see this, customer sent me a picture of a yard that's flooded, that's right next to right on the house, right next to the house. Now, we were just there. We were just there. So it's kind of, I'm going to look at what we did there. So we did an adjustment, I think. So we did an adjustment. So I don't think that was anything we could have done. Well, I mean, I don't. But I'm working. Okay, she's wants a time. I don't have a time right now, but I'm working coordinating that now. Yeah, man. It's just, you know, what is it? Is it like if I had the best techs in the world, would that solve all our problems? I don't know. You know, I just don't know. So I'm gonna need to call somebody, but oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm booking a job right now for my sprinkler guy. So one thing I did notice with my sprinkler team and division and all that is in order for me to be sane is I have to have a weekend sprinkler guy driving around all Saturday and Sunday. I do that to make sure that things like this could get handled fast. Now she said she turned the water off, so we're good. Um, I'm getting another text here. Yeah. So the beauty of this is that I do have an employee who I basically hired to do this. To what I do is I give him all the commercial jobs on the weekend. I put them on a list, and I just every single Saturday and Sunday. So he only works Saturday and Sunday for me. And I told him that's basically the only way I can hire you if we do this. If you want to do this, and he was like, "That's what I actually want. That's exactly what I want." And so I was like, so it works out. And he's been with me all year, so it's perfect. And so what he's doing right now is fixing one of my tech's uh, big jobs that we charged the customer for it, and it kind of failed, kind of sort of. This was an interesting one, but anyway, he's there now working on it, and I need him to do this other one. So I'm going to call him right now once I dispatch it and let him know whenever he has a second to go look at it. Today, I got to move the job. Oh, it's Saturday. Yeah. So I put it on the wrong day over here. Today is the 5th. Why didn't I see that? I'm going to refresh. This is weird. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to move this job to the 5th. Okay, let's see if it's still dispatched. It is. Hey Siri, call Mariano.
Calling Mariano Mobile.
Hola, jefe. Hey Mariano, hay una emergencia, pero no es emergencia porque ya apagaron la agua, pero hay una casa que necesito que tú chequeas.
Ok.
Pero cuando tienes tiempo, puede ser cuando terminas esto, pero necesito saber como una hora antes.
Ok.
¿Y cómo ves?
Y ahorita ya voy a conectar los otros cables.
Ok.
Ya encontré dónde estaban los cables.
Oh, qué bueno.
Que donde los pasaron en la barda, ahí quebraron los cables, por eso no los encontraba yo.
Ok. ¿Pero lo arreglaste?
Ya lo estoy reparando.
Ok. ¿Y arreglaste la pipa o la válvula todavía o no?
No, todavía no, que me estaba yo checando lo de los cables para sacarlo, porque lo estaba yo acomodando de nuevo.
Ok, perfecto. Gracias.
Okay.
Y ya está en la lista. Moví la casa que tú estás para hoy. Estaba ayer.
Ajá.
So maybe cuando chequeas la aplicación y ves que no hay nada es porque no estás en el día.
Ok.
Okay, bro. Gracias.
Sí, de nada, jefe.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Okay. They were on yesterday's list. I just moved them to now. I got another Mo guy going, where's my list? I had 3 today, and I just had to move them. Let's see. So those are, yeah, dude, I'll have 2 guys working today. Yeah, I'm really curious what happened at that one house. This is stuff that I'm just like so done with. Like, that's what is going to kill me with sprinklers. It's like our mess ups actually cause problems to customers. Like mowing, if you mess it up, it's going to grow right back. You know, but with sprinklers, you mess up, and sometimes there's damage associated with that. And that doesn't do good for me. Like that doesn't, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. But at the same time, I need to do better at like not letting it affect me too much. You know, some of the managers here were actually like sitting, like I was talking to them and like how something was like on my mind, and they were like, "So it seems like you're stressed out about that." And I said, "I am." And he said, "Well, you know it's going to get fixed. So why are you worried?" I go, "I don't know." He's like, "Think about that. There's this issue. It's going to get resolved, and we know it's going to get resolved. And the customer's not upset. Why are you stressing about it?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I can't help it. Like I still can't. I don't have an answer. I don't know. Is that something that I need to talk to somebody about?" I will say I did have a psychiatrist. Is that what you call them? For a while, last year, probably this time last year or earlier, because I actually had a problem. Like I wanted to find like a business psychiatrist, and I found one, and I wanted to find out why I don't take risks. Okay. Because I've got some friends, or I go to conferences, and those people that are like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to start this thing and I'm going to franchise it," and then 2 months later they're doing it, and you're like, "How the hell did you do that?" And so I was always kind of like uh, thinking to myself, "There's something wrong with me because I can't do that kind of thing." Like, oh, I see an opportunity, boom, do it, and just do it. Kind of like Mike Andes comes to mind, right? Where it's like, if he wanted to start I'm going to make something up. If he wanted to make a tie company to make ties, it would be done in a week. He would have it done. He would be selling ties in 2 weeks. I can't do that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what am I missing? That like I'm not surrounded, but when I go places, and some of my friends, they have the ability to do that, and they go, "You know what? I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna do this or that," and it's like, boom, they're doing it now. So I talked to my psychiatrist about it, and I was like, I feel like I don't take risks, and I want to know why. Like, why don't I take risks? Anyway, that was the underlining question, and I would see him. I think it was once a week. Believe it or not, it was on Zoom, so we meet on Zoom, And it was around the time where I was doing lives pretty regularly. So what I would do is either before I'd start my live or after I'd set up the meeting with my psychiatrist. And obviously I had stress too. I had some stress as well. So that was another thing we talked about. But the underlining question was, why do I feel like I don't take risks? So anyway, after probably 2 or 3, maybe even longer, he said this was a time I forgot that was even the underlining question, right? Because we were talking about so many things, but I think he always was aware and try to figure out the root of why I don't take risks like that. But one day he's like, I figured you out, man. I figured out that burning question that you had when we first signed up was, why don't I take risks? Well, it turns out, this is what he told me, you take more risks than anybody I ever met. I'm like, I do? He's like, yes, you do. Every day you're risking stuff, but you're calculated about it. So to you, it doesn't feel like a risk. And I was just like, holy Mac, that's crazy. So he was telling about these things that I've done because we were talking for a while. What's up, Doctor? Curtis Knight. So that blew my mind that I actually take risks, like a lot of risks every day, but to me, it doesn't feel like a risk. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of mind blowing. And one of the examples was like, I dropped 120K when I bought the other company's leads and stuff. And he's like, do you know how insane that is? Do you know how risky that is? And I'm like, I guess, but it was like, yeah, but I didn't feel like it was a risk. I knew it was easy free money if I did that. I knew that it would blow the company up. It would blow us up to new levels if I did that. I could see it clearly. It was like a no-brainer. And so he's like, yeah, but that's because you were calculated about it. You were educated about it. It wasn't like you just put $120,000 in the mail and hope for the best. You actually had a plan and you executed it. So it wasn't a risk at all. And then there was probably another thing that I did that made him think that too. So he basically tied it all together to me and was like, you are super risky, but it's not a risk to you because you're so sure of what you're going to do that it doesn't seem risky. So, and then once he started, and then we talked about that for a while, right? Because I could still say, well, how come I don't want to do a franchise of this and that and do all these other crazy things? And it's like, well, because you don't want to do it. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't want to do those things. And anyway, so it's just kind of funny how, when somebody, you're so stuck with yourself that you don't understand why you do things or what you do until somebody points it out to you. So that was my eye-opening moment of like, not feeling bad for myself anymore. I was like, you know what? I actually like that. I actually like that. I feel like that makes me happy. So anyway, what's going on, guys? I don't really have a topic today other than I talked about my manual a little bit. I got a sprinkler guy out there. I've got a new sprinkler problem out there. But luckily, we've got a guy working, and he's doing a pretty good job. So hopefully he keeps that going and we can get this other problem figured out. Speaking of that, I've got to put her on the board. Yeah, it's going to be a minute probably, but 9:30. It's 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, I need to do stuff to relax. But anyway, I've got my brother coming out here soon. I may hang out with him for a minute. See what's going on with him. So okay, I think we've been talking for almost an hour. I think this is good for today. Unless I get any last second questions, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let's see how the channel's been doing actually. So we've got. I'm just wondering if I've been getting any subs lately. Here we go. So we've gotten 24 subs in 28 days. So thank you. If you're not subscribed, please do it. I was telling my media guy that I used to get paid from the Christmas light company to post videos every day on their website, and I got paid really good, so I did it. Because I felt this urge, this push to have to get it done because I was getting paid really good. And I said that that's probably what would happen with the YouTube. Like, those. So there's basically content creators that they're posting every day and they're doing a good job of that. And you kind of have this desire to want to grow this channel, right? Your channel. And then you have the ones that do have a lot of subs and they post out really good content. Those people that are making a lot of money, I bet you they feel this because they're getting paid so good. It's like they have to post. So I think you get into this cycle, which I have not gotten with my YouTube channel because I make no money on this thing. But if I did, I feel that's when I would feel the urge to do more. Because when I was getting paid to do those videos for the light company, man, dude, I could be on vacation. I was on vacation in Florida one time, and I was just dying to make a video. I had to make a video. So I went to and I had to come up with videos all the time, and it was like I had to do it, or I'm going to get fired, from this job that was paying me really good. So I was really, really pushing those videos, and I think that there's some content creators who feel that urge, and that's why they're so consistent. With me, just not consistent. Other than I just like doing it, but nothing's driving me to do it other than I just like sharing tips and I like getting tips. But yeah, so anyway, I told my media guy that if we start making money off of this, that we'll probably do a lot better. We'll probably do a lot better videos. But until then, I mean, it's just kind of the way it is, right? Like, I think we're doing the best we can for the amount of time that we're putting into it. But anyway, all right, guys. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later.